Welcome back to another movie review. Y'all, this movie was something else. This movie was good, y'all. And it kept me on the edge of my seat, I'll put it that way. Whew, okay. There was that guy, I cannot remember what that man's name was, who plays as Luke Cage. He was in this movie, and the other guy, I don't remember his name either, but the guy who played Brody, Terence, yeah. I barely remembered his name, so I'm doing good so far. Anyways, so this movie started with, it was a normal thing, right? This guy, Mr. Terence, if you will, and his co-pilot, they're transporting some passengers, to their destination or back home, wherever. And there was also a fugitive, or well, not a fugitive, but I guess a criminal, if you will, who was supposed to be being transported to Canada, I think it was, by the name of Brody on the plane as well. Everything was going fine until somebody told him to take a shortcut or something like that it would be safe or whatever. Why do I feel like every time somebody tells somebody like, oh yeah, you could take a shortcut, it'll be fine, it always ends up not being fine? But anyways, he's taking a shortcut, I guess, or whatever, and he gets hit by a storm, and then there's turbulence, and he was, that's the first thing they say. When turbulence hit, you better make sure you got them seatbelts on, because if anything happens and you hit that plane, you hit the deck, you hit the roof, that's your behind. You know what I'm saying? And it was sad because there was the guy who was supposed to be watching the criminal got out of the seat, and one of the flight attendants was like, hey, get back in your seat, sir. She's trying to help him. He's trying to get his phone or something like that. And I'm like, bro, forget the phone. Worry about your life. No, that was too much like right. They hit the turbulence. He goes down. They go up. They're in the upper room now. And I was like, that is so sad. That was the first two casualties of the movie, and that was very depressing to watch. I was like, dang. Him and the flight attendant. And stuff was crashing. They trying to move out of the way so they don't get smashed. Then he has to make an emergency landing somewhere, around the Philippines. I think it was like Jolo Island in the Philippines. He makes a landing, and they all get out of the plane, and they're like just chilling, and they're like, don't worry, we're gonna call somebody. They're gonna come pick us up. They get in contact with proper authorities. They're trying to make sure that everybody's okay. So he talks to Brody, and he's like, I'm surprised you haven't ran off by now, because the guy that's supposed to be watching you, he just so happened to be the one out of the two people that didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, where else would I go? And I'm still handcuffed. He was like, yeah, that's true. But then I guess they let him out, because at this point, what's the point, right? So then he's trying to get a distress call over. He tries to call his daughter to let him know, listen, we didn't have some trouble, but we're gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Come to find out, they landed on one of the worst places they probably could have landed, which was on an island where the governments have no jurisdiction. So now you have people who are basically like kidnappers that sell people for money, for US dollars, who have taken his entire passenger crew as hostages. And a guy came in there and tried to off him. That fight scene was so intense and had me so filled with anxiety, because I did not think he was gonna make it. And then, but he made it though. But like I said, that scene was unnecessarily long. Like, whoever was the fight choreographer for that scene, you deserve a raise, okay? And then Brody comes up there with a shotgun. It was like, oh yeah, I shot the other guys. They were out there too. And I'm just like, he did all that to survive, and there were other people waiting for him. You better be thanking God that man was right there. And this is the criminal that helped you. You know what I'm saying? Y'all didn't want to unhandcuff, which I don't blame. Anyway, so he was like, okay, what's going on here? And then they go back, and all the people are gone. And then they see, like I said, they were watching the entire exchange from the bushes. And he was about to, listen, I get it. He had the hero complex, and I don't blame him. Those were his passengers. And Brody was like, are you stupid? No, we need to be here, so whatever happens, we could be witnesses, and we can go behind them and try to fix it. And it was just the way he grabbed him, tackled him to the ground. He was like, no, let me go. And it was just so sad, how they did these people, man. How they shot that lady, and then they chopped the other guy's head off for trying to escape. And he was like, y'all about to come with us, and that's what y'all about to do. And then they got him, they roughed him up and put him in that place, and then got some people out and was like, what's your name and what's your country? And they were recording them, telling them their name and country. He was like, y'all are gonna come with us. And then he was asking the co-pilot, forgot his name, where's the pilot? And he was like, the pilot is not here. Like, he technically left to go and, like, get help. And he was like, I hope you're not lying to me. And he was like, nah. And then brings them all in there. And I just didn't like how, like I said, they were roughing them up, trying to scare them, firing shots into the air, you know, like, it's the terrorism of it all, right? And then he was like, you know, like I said, Terence was, you know, in the bushes with Brody, and he was just like, we gotta do something. And then they see that one guy, well, it was two of them, and so they shot one, and then they kept the other one. Well, you know, Torrance kept the other one, and they were asking him, okay, where are they bringing these people? And he was like, oh, I don't really know. We just follow his directions, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I would have beat him up, and I would have made him take me as far as he could take me. That's what I would have did. But they got the information they needed out of him, and then Brody shot him. And then, you know, Terrence was like, why are you up here just shooting people? And he was like, well, we can't leave like a trail behind us. Like if he would have left him, then he would have went back and told the guys, you know. And I was like, I mean, he's kind of right, but, you know, like, I wouldn't have wanted to be just out here shooting people either. But unfortunately, in these situations, you got to be careful who you let walk, okay? Because that could be your behind, basically. Anyways, so meanwhile, they're just sitting in there in the cell like, is anybody coming for us? Is anybody? And then, doggone it, they didn't contact, like I said, the necessary authorities. And the two of them were going back and forward. And I questioned whether that one guy, the guy that was kind of like bald or whatever, whether he actually cared about those people. Like, the other guy was like, I don't care what you say. I don't care if, like, they accidentally fell out of the sky or it was something that they did. We're sending somebody to help them. We're not wasting any time because they could be in a bad situation or could be about to be in one. And that was like another thing. They were gonna like try and help them, and they managed to like get the plane, or they were gonna get the plane up like to a point where they could like put it in the air, but not really go like somewhere. And he was basically like, he can't get up there like and fly in that plane with those people because if something happens in that, you know, airplane, that's all them people. And then the guy was like, well, first of all, it's a better chance than what they're in right now, isn't it? And he was like, I don't care what you say. I'm giving them the jurisdiction to do what they need to do. And I was like, please give this man a round of applause. Because like I said, I questioned whether the other guy actually cared about these people. So they go and they find this guy after he didn't, like I said, roughed everybody up, got their information and took the video. And then they found out, like I said, what these people have been doing. Basically making these people tell them, like, you know, record a video to try and get money from people. They find them, and I was like, this seemed like a little too easy for me, if you ask me, but I'm thankful, you know, that they were able to find them. And like I said, they had conveniently left to go, I guess, either kidnap more people or do whatever, and they snuck in there, and then they managed to get everybody out, and they took out the people. When he picked up that axe, well, I guess that would be more of like a mace, rather, I guess, but when he picked up that axe, that hammer, so to speak, I was like, he's a little too good at this. I'm concerned. What was he doing that got him in trouble to begin with? But anyways, he was just going around. Well, what guy? I was like, he's doing this a little too well. And he was taking people out left and right. And he was like, I'll go ahead and see like what's going on. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to say that like, y'all, he's a criminal, that he's for the streets or for the gutter or whatever. But he's being really nice and helping y'all out. I don't know. And then he was like, he came back and he's like, we can't just walk through the front door. There's a butt ton of them. Like, and there was like, oh, we have a bus right there. And then like, there was one young man on there. He was like, listen, I could drive anything. He got into the driver's side. He was like, just tell us where we need to go. And he was like, well, we can't go through the front gate because there's a whole butt ton of them like guarding the gate. And he was like, maybe I can distract him. He was like, no, I'm going to do it. And he was like, bro, just let me do it. He was like, no, these are my passengers, my responsibility. Like I said, strong leadership skills right there, putting other people before yourself. And he went there unarmed and they were just beating him up for no reason. Like, I just didn't like that at all. Like, I'm not a violence person, you know what I'm saying? They were just beating him just to be beating him. And I'm just like, who hurt y'all? Are y'all upset because y'all don't have money? Well, it's not right to do this to people, you know what I'm saying? It's not their faults, you know? And he was asking him, he was like, so I heard that you tried to go get help. How did that work out? Like, he knew that they weren't going to be able to get help, more than likely, or that their chances of getting it were slim. Because again, those islands were completely outside of the jurisdiction of the governments. Like, even the guy back in the U.S., he was like, the Filipino government ain't going up over there. They done lost so many battles. They ain't going up over there. And I was like, man, they really might be screwed. But like I said, they were able to send a squad down. But then the squad, the squad got down there and they were shooting people. They were taking people out. Listen, this squad was doing it for real. They didn't lose anybody on their side. I was like, these people know what they doing, okay? This is the Black Ops elite, okay? Air Force Ones, if you will. Then they get in the bus and they manage to rendezvous with the force, with the squad, and they're like, all right, we're gonna help y'all get out of here. And they get on the bus, and then they're like, okay, so tell us where's the army. And he was like, Captain, I got some bad news to tell you. So they sent us because we were the fastest group that could get to y'all. There is no army coming, or if there is, it's gonna be 24 hours. And he's like, we're gonna be captured again by 24 hours. And he was like, well, we're all you got, so we can get together something. We can put a little bit of fuel in the plane. You do what you need to do, and we're gonna cover you, and that's all we can do. I was like, these people are really stuck out for a moment. And he was like, okay, I mean, it's better than nothing. And he was like, okay, well, you just tell us what to do and we'll do it. And I just thought that was very honorable of them to give over, like I said, leadership and command to him in that moment. He was like, you tell us what to do and we got it, okay? And he was like, okay, cover us while I send them up there, inside of the airplane. I'm going to fix the brakes because that back brake needs to be fixed. And then I'm going to leave the hatch open and I'm going to tell y'all when it's time to go. They were like, we got it. And they had a whole shootout. I was like, oh my God. They were standing behind the cars. That one guy with the bazooka rifle. That bazooka rifle was dope. I'm going to just put it that way, okay? He said, he put that thing in there and then he aimed. He was blasting people. Like I said, I don't like violence. But in this scenario, I was glad he blasted them. There, I said it. Okay, they were trying to hurt these people, okay? He was blasting them, and he was not missing at all. I was like, now, these are the people that we need when we need somebody to come and help us for real, okay? And then Brody got out there, and he was helping. He was like, I got to reload real fast. He's like, don't worry, we'll cover you, brother. He goes over to the bag, the duffel bag. He opens the wrong duffel bag, and it's a butt ton of money. And he was like, and I was like, so you gonna leave them? Because that's what it looked like, the look on your face. Yeah, I knew you couldn't be trusted. And then he just zips it up and then he goes into the other duffel bag. I was like, oh, okay, I got my eyes on you. And then he gets the reload package or whatever. And then he was like, all right, everybody get in there. And they're shooting and bullets are flying past people. One guy got shot and then the flight attendant came down and helped him back up. And then doggone it, Terence got shot twice. And I didn't even realize the second time. Like I saw him get shot in the leg, but I didn't see him get shot in the shoulder until afterwards. The co-pilot is in the passenger seat. He trying to hit all the buttons and turn everything on, get everything ready. And then he tells them, haul your butts in here. And they're like, we got it. And he was like, Brody, get in here. And I'm just like, so you can just tell him, hey, brother, you can go ahead and go without me. Like, I'm going to just stay behind. Like, he probably wouldn't have wanted to settle for that. But one just, hey, I'm going to stay behind. I'm going to cover y'all's behinds. I feel like he wouldn't have been standing there talking about, hey, get on here. Because they were trying to make sure everybody got on. They were trying to make sure everybody did. It was no man or woman left behind. He could have saved them a couple of seconds by saying, I'm staying to watch y'all this time. But whenever he saw him grab that duffel bag and run, he was like, this dude playing games. And then he was like, I'm saving myself. And I was like, good, please save yourself. Because I don't want any of y'all to get shot. And none of them got shot. That's what made me happy. Because we already had to watch, like I said, 2 people get unalived on the plane by the turbulence. And then 2 people by these guys. And what made me, I don't know. I was so bothered. Like I said, the guy, whenever, like I said, they had confronted Terence and they were beating him, and I was like, oh God, I don't know, what are they gonna do to him? They're gonna hurt him for real before they take him out. But then I think it was Brody that shot the guy's brother. I think his name was the chief shot his brother. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I wasn't upset when he got shot because he was one of the meanest people. Okay, he was over here shooting people, chopping people's heads off. He had to go. There, I said it. I was like, And then this guy got vengeful. I'm like, so you're mad because y'all set out to ruin people's lives by kidnapping them, selling them for ransom, and now you're mad because y'all knew that this was gonna happen though. Y'all knew something like this was gonna happen. You knew your lives were in danger when you were doing stuff like this. So why would you be mad? Now, like, I get it, that was his brother, but how you gonna be mad and be mad at them for trying to get away from y'all after y'all kidnapped them? I was like, this is beyond me. He gonna get mad, and it was basically like he didn't care what he had to do. He was gonna take everybody out, or as many people as he could. Forget the ransom. He just wanted all of them gone. But they failed, like I said, because that squad, listen, like I said, the Black Ops elite, okay, took them out. And then he had the audacity to bring out his own bazooka rifle when they got on the plane. And the way Brody looked at that, not Brody, the way Torrance looked at that bazooka rifle when he was aiming, I was like, if somebody doesn't take him out, they're all dead. And then that was right when Brody, he was running, and then he stopped and he was like, oh, I got something for you. He aimed, he took that. I'm just like, y'all's aim is impeccable. Like, we've seen so many movies where the aim was trash and the anxiety was following right after that. And the anxiety rose accordingly. But these people didn't miss not one shot. And I was so appreciative of it. I really was. He shot that guy right before he could shoot the bazooka. Well, actually, right as he shot the rifle. And then it missed him by a couple of degrees. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. And he was smiling to himself like, yeah, I did something right. Like, and I guess it felt good to help people after whatever he had done. And I was glad he stuck by to help them. That was very noble and kind of him, you know. And then, doggone it, he just wouldn't let it go. Like, he just would not let it go. Like, his pride, it's something about pride and ego. People have been slighted. They just don't know when to walk away. And he refused to walk away. I'm like, take off, take off. And then the way that tire smashed him into that car, I was like, fitting. That's a fitting defeat for him. Because he was just so mad. But hey, that's, you know, taking them out, I guess, ensured that that's one less group to do to them, to somebody else, basically. And they were flying, but that they weren't out of the clear yet. They were like, everybody just hold on. He's like, I got y'all. Just trust me to fly you one more time. And like I said, that one guy, he just would not, he was just so, I don't even know what to say about him. He was like, I'm not giving you clearance to take off in that plane for it to blow up with all those people on there. And the other guy was like, I'm giving you 100% clearance to take off in that plane with all them people on there. And I was like, thank you, sir. And he's flying. And then the doggone thrusters went out, the engine went out, and he was like, we're about to land. We're about to have a bumpy landing, y'all. And then he manages to land them right on the strip. And I was like, this guy's a good pilot. And then he was like, he was telling his co-pilot, you know, you did good. And he was like, no, it was my pleasure flying with you, sir. And then that was when they would, like I said, send a distress signal. And, you know, his poor daughter was at the home because he had sent that message out to her before he got attacked. And she got it. She was crying at home because she didn't know if he was even still alive or not. He called her back sitting on the steps, and she was, you know, he was like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm fine. And I was like, that was all I needed to see. Them being able to make a successful landing, not losing anybody else, and him being able to call his daughter, knowing that they would coming to get them. You know what I'm saying? Now, I was a little bit afraid when he said, you know, just find me somewhere to land. I was like, okay, well, at least make sure that, like, it's not going to happen again. Because, you know, this was a result of y'all landing in an island that, like I said, had no jurisdiction for the government. But I guess it was like an empty island, so to speak, away from the bad people. So I was like, okay, maybe they're safe or whatever. But like I said, you can assume or deduce that they got the help they needed. And then this dude gonna run off Brody into the foliage, into the forest, if you will, with a duffel bag of money and a rifle. And I was like, well, I guess he did what he had to do. He shot some people because, like I said, he was a little too he was doing that a little too well. He shot some people. He did his due diligence. He helped them escape, and he was smiling. He was smiling like he was like, I did a good thing, which he did. And then I guess he rewarded himself by buying his escape. And I'm like, this man is probably somewhere in the Philippines, living it up, living life like it's golden with that money. Probably bought himself a whole new identity and escaped. That is an unrealistic thing to happen for a criminal that's being transported. For the plane to go down, him to be able to escape with his life and money, to start a new life, and not have to be in prison or jail for whatever he did. That was probably a dream come true for him. I'm just like, wow, this is something else. But anyways, like I said, this movie was good. This movie was intense. Like I said, whenever that plane hit that turbulence and they went down, ooh, man, that was something else. Like all the plane scenes. It was short, simple, sweet, and to the point. And I feel like it was good that they put this movie out because people do need to know whenever they're traveling, things that they need to do, survival tactics, things they need to be careful of, you know what I'm saying, in these kind of situations. You know, just got to be careful. You know, the old saints, you know, I'm a religious person, and not just a religious person, but a faith-based person. The old saints will say, take the Lord along with you, okay, everywhere you go. Because he's the only person that's going to be able to keep you safe in these scenarios, right? Anyways, Y'all let me know what y'all think, how y'all felt about the movie down in the comments below.